All right, James Taylor, Dr. James Taylor. Okay, quickly. I know you're busy. Okay, so when Tamika said that we got James Taylor coming on, and so I paused. I'm like, hold it, James Taylor?
How'd you get him?
Said, oh, really? That's what I thought, man. I'm like, this is going to be great. Actually, hey, but you know what? You are equally as great to be on. Thank you.
No problem, man.
All right, so hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Reidox4life Podcast Show. And we're your hosts. I'm Levi. This is Tamika Renee. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing this discussion on how service providers are making a difference in their community. And today we have Dr. James Taylor to join us. Thank you.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yes, thank you for being here. So, Dr. James Taylor, I'm sure our viewers would love to know who Dr. James Taylor is and what inspired you to venture into the career path that you're in.
Dr. James Taylor is a doctor of chiropractic. I've got an office here just outside of Fort Worth, Texas, called Aspire Chiropractic. And oddly enough, so chiropractic was always, I'll say, in the back of my mind. I always liked anatomy. I like sciences. I like biology, things like that. My dad went to chiropractic school when I was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Fast forward, and I graduated high school, went to college, and man, I looked at like the orthopedist route. And in so doing, I found out that they've got to go to 10 years of residency after 4 years of undergrad and 4 years of medical school. And that really wasn't my jam. So then in going through college, when I graduated, I decided I was just going to get out and work, stop taking loans and start trying to make a little money. And I was actually I had a relationship, let's just say, blow up in my face. And then that kind of ushered me into chiropractic school, because the day after that relationship ended, I had a dentist appointment, and it was right across the street from a chiropractic college in Kansas City. And I thought, hey, that was always an option. Let's see what happens there. And here we are. The real traditional route to becoming a chiropractor. Bad breakup and then a dentist appointment.
Yeah, that's that is doing right there, man. All right, okay. So now you're back home after you break up, and you're going through your mind. What am I going to do next? So at that point, did you complete college, undergrad, when you went back home? In that?
Yeah. I had graduated. I had moved in with the then girlfriend, and like I said, it was, oddly enough, we had the long distance thing going, and it was when we moved in together that it became very apparent that it wasn't going to work out.
Was that chiropractic office your mentor, or when did you get a mentor for chiropractic?
No, oddly enough, so like I said, my dad went to chiropractic school when I was in like elementary school. And then after that breakup, and I had that dentist appointment, and then I walked out of the dentist, there's that chiropractic office. I was like, hey, that was an option. So then that's when I started chasing that down, applied to chiropractic school. In chiropractic school, I found a mentor. I interned with him. He was a chiropractor for the Minnesota Vikings. And I was like, man, this guy knows his stuff. He's got a real cool patient base. He gets chiropractic and understands the change that it can make in people's lives. But I found out that he's not going to quit or retire or die anytime soon. So I couldn't take over his practice. And this was up in Minnesota. And I'd also like, you know what? I'm tired of being cold 6 months out of the year. So after graduation, I graduated November 24th, packed up a U-Haul and pointed it south and moved to Texas on November 25th.
Excellent. I love that. I know what Minnesota's cold. So
yeah.
So definitely. So man, congratulations on getting out of Minnesota. It's a great state. It's a great state now. Don't get me wrong. It's a great state. I love it.
Like from May to October, beautiful.
Yes.
Man,
yes, it's great.
I love the infectious. Your personality is just so, it just draws you in. When you first sat here, I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. So Dr. Taylor, what habits have you embedded to help you succeed? What lessons have you taken from them?
Oh man, it's in being a service provider, habits are huge. Habits are absolutely huge, because I'm not selling a widget. I'm not selling a thing. I'm selling, it's in the title, like the service I'm providing. And this was a completely unintended segue, but my personality is one of my best assets, in my humble opinion. It is one of my best assets. As a chiropractor here, I'm actually going through a hiring process right now. And one of the things that I'm telling all the new hires, part of our process is, hey, I want you to come in here and I want you to shadow us, shadow me, shadow my ops manager, so you can get a vibe for the office. Because it's definitely, it's a curated place. Like I made this office the way it is largely based on my personality. And a lot of the patients that come in here, they're the same. Like they're loud, they're boisterous, or things like that. But as far as like from a habit thing, like this is something that I do intentionally. Like one of the things I do every single day is I write down what I call morning pages. And all it is, it's a 1-page document. It's a straight stream of conscious thought, no negative speak, committing to action. And the things I write down over and over again are just what I want to emote, what I want to feel, how I want to come off that day. Today, I'm a man of action. Today, I make decisions. Today, I get stuff done. And these are just things that I write down just in the quiet of the morning, but I do it every day. And I do it just as a way to set the stage for how I'm going to present and how I'm going to be and how I'm going to feel that day.
Fantastic. You said earlier you played rugby semi-pro,
Yep.
or just below the pro level. How has your profession as being a chiropractor influenced the way you play, the way you approach the game, or or post play, or post game?
I'll tell you this. So I think we'll call it one of my shortcomings when I first started practice. If I had more of a rugby mentality, I would have gotten to where I am faster. One of the great things about the sport of rugby is, if you're unfamiliar, there's 15 people per team. So there's 30 people on the field. And you need all of those people on your side. You need all 15 players. Very rarely will you find a rugby team that's got 1 or 2 star players and it carries the team. Rugby is a sport where it takes all 15. There's no football. You can have a quarterback and a receiver, and those two can carry you a long way with 9 other mediocre players. That's not going to happen in rugby. And I say, if I had taken those skills earlier in practice, in that if I had made better use of the people around me, I would have achieved the level I'm at sooner than what I had. Because I was doing the whole, I'm going to do it by myself. I wore this independence as a badge of honor, in a sense. Like, I am the chiropractor, and I am the business owner, and I am the accountant, I am the marketer, and I am X, Y, and all the things. I don't know why I did it, but that's how I went about it. If I had made use of the people around me better when I first started, that's something that rugby should have taught me. Maybe it did. I just didn't grasp the lesson as quickly as what I needed to.
Yes. So you learned something. Then you only applied it in athletics, not business.
Right. That's a fair statement. But as a businessman, it would have been nice to apply that notion a little sooner.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love.
Have you applied it to your relationship? Are we married, or what's going on?
Yes, actually, I don't know when this is going to drop, but as the time of this recording, last week I celebrated 11 years with my wife, Tamika, with a T. We've got 2 wonderful kids who started kindergarten and 2nd grade this last week. So, yeah, that is definitely a team effort for sure.
Yes,
Nice.
definitely. Congratulations on 11 years, man. That's a milestone in itself. Yeah, that right there, that deserves what it is. Yeah. Yes, congratulations. Congratulations to Tamika also. I love it. Yes.
I'll pass the word along.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Doctor, what are some of the challenges in your line of work?
Like I said, we're going back to the start of it, my own stubbornness, my wonderful ability to get in my own way. If we're talking like, hey, what's a tidbit or a golden nugget that somebody's watching this that they could take from it, it would literally be like, there are people out there who absolutely want to help you, and they will if you just let them. Like I said, for some reason, I don't know where it got instilled in me, I wore it as a badge of honor that I did all the things. And in all reality, like, I didn't need to. There are people out there who were willing to help me and who were able to do the things better than I could. But the big old challenge was this guy right here thinking he needed to do everything for whatever reason.
So how did you know when to let them help you? How did you know when the time was?
Well, that might be more of a question for Tamika. The amount, she's got to have some guns on her, just the amount of time she had to beat it over my head. She would watch me struggle. She would watch me get frustrated. And it was just, sometimes you got to learn the hard way. And as much as it sucks, life will keep giving you the lesson until you learn it. Absolutely.
That's well said. You're right. You're right. Life will keep giving you the lesson. You cannot move on until you got this part, because it's going to be vital at the next stage. Yes, it's going to be vital. So you need to get there. All right. Well said.
Yes. So I have one more question for you. The one thing that you can, I know you said your piece of nugget a little bit, but what is the one thing that you could directly share with our audience to help them along the way in their journey to maybe not get in their own way and actually see the purpose and the vision?
I would say, and this actually came to me, like I didn't think of it. This is not a James Taylor original, but within the last 2 months, a coach of mine, Sean Dill, I just simply asked him a question, and it was an innocuous question. I don't even remember what the question was, but his response was that I need to be hyper protective of what influences me. And that hit me unexpectedly like a ton of bricks, because there was, like I said, there was plenty of times where I could have asked for help and didn't. And if I was aware of the things that were influencing me, I would have asked sooner. And again, completely unintentional. I think this is wonderfully apropos in this current election season, because just all the stuff that's popped, not getting political, but just all the garbage that we're constantly bombarded with. It's really hard to sift through what the good stuff is, what the bad stuff is, what the necessary is, and what the needless is. And the better we can do about just being hyper protective about what influences us, I think would clear up a whole lot of the static and a whole lot of the chatter that we otherwise try and sift through navigating this thing we call life.
Yes, definitely. I would say Dr. Sean Dill hit it right on the nail head, as they say. Yes, I think we all need to do that and pay attention to, to really what influences us. Because that right there is going to start our day. It's going to end our evening. It's going to carry us throughout the day, our mindset, our condition, how we think, how we respond, how we react. So that is very important. Hyper.
It is. And I think people, they don't put enough credence in like how often they're being influenced. The amount of time, every time you're sitting and you're chilling and you're bored and you decide just to start scrolling, those are all influences. Every single one of those little minute and 30-second reels or those 30-second stories are all influences. They're just little micro doses of something. So to be hyper protective of what even those little 30-second clips are, shoot, that adds up. It absolutely adds up.
Oh yeah, definitely. Pay attention, folks. Hey, if you don't take nothing else from this podcast right there, take protect yourself at a high level. What influences you?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I love that. Man, do you have I know you have a podcast yourself that you do.
Yep.
Yes. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. It's called Fueled by Spite. It was born of the becoming a chiropractor thing, born of the starting a business thing. Because as I grew this office, it was two things. Number one, when I told people I was going to go into business for myself, I had way more people asking me, why are you going to do that? Than I had people saying, hey, that's a good idea. And then as this thing started to grow, I had people who were like your cheerleaders as you're getting started. Hey, you're doing it. You're doing the right thing. You're doing a great thing. And then as you start to succeed and build, and then some of these people they start to fall off. And people that became or that were once cheerleaders became detractors. And then put that kind of under the umbrella of all the personal development stuff that any sort of entrepreneur or hell, even just self-development type person goes after. It was all, none of it really seemed real enough for me. It was all very rah, and woo. I'm going back to the sports analogy thing. Hell, if I'm doing really good, I want to point at the scoreboard. And so I wanted to give people an opportunity to do that. I leapfrog my episodes. Every other episode is me talking about my journey or things that I've learned. And the ones in between those, I grab local business people and local entrepreneurs from around here in DFW to give them a platform to share their stories.
Yes, I love that, man. That's the essence of our show is helping service providers.
Yep.
Right. Become aware of their community. Man, that's great. I love that. So can you tell us a little bit about you're creating this business and doing it in a short amount of time and expanding and your clientele and how you attracted your clientele and how you became this really influential chiropractor in your community?
When I first got down here, I looked for rugby players. That's how I built this whole thing. This whole thing was built because of the relationships I made in the game of rugby. I came down here to DFW. The first thing I did, I searched all the rugby teams and I just showed up at practice. Hey, I'm the new chiropractor in town, rugby player. I get what you're going through. Excuse me. If you need any help, let me help you out. It just turns out that DFW is one of the largest concentrations of like rugby teams in America. So I started, hey, I'm going to sponsor your team in that. All the players get care for free as long as they're registered with the team. And then anybody that you send to me, I will increase my donation to the team. And I did that with one team and another team. And now it's gotten to the point, should I sponsor, I lost count. I want to say 14 or 15 rugby teams here in DFW. I'm the team chiropractor for the Dallas Jackals, which is our major league rugby team. So it's just, these are the people I know. This is the stuff that I have. These are the people I have fun helping. Because that's one thing, like as a service provider, you have to literally work with people. Again, I'm not selling a widget. I'm interacting with people all the time. So if I'm going to have to do that all the time, it better be people that I like. Nothing against kids. This isn't a pediatric office.
Yes, definitely. So you found your own team where you didn't have to stick around in Minnesota and wait for to retire or move on.
Or die.
Yeah. So you have your own team. You got your own teams.
Yep.
More than one. That's it. Hey man, congratulations on that right there, Doctor.
I appreciate that, man.
I love this. Have you bottled this up and put this in a course to share with others, with other doctors and professionals to show them how you did it? And
I'm in the process of bottling it. The bottling process, you could say, is messy. I sat down, oddly enough, I attempted to give it a shot. I'm like, what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to put out a guide. And I was going to use it as a way to promote the podcast. I'm going to put together a guide on things that the top 10 XYZ, whatever. And this guide turned into an ebook. And it's sitting at about 160 pages of an actual book. Like I sat down, I started typing, and it turns out I had a lot to say. So now it's a matter of getting it from just the stream of conscious 160 page Word document to having it actually fleshed out to giving it something that people will actually read.
Excellent. Love that. One more question, and then
yeah.
I know you're busy. Have you opened another practice, or are you in the process of opening another practice?
Yeah, so I'm going to scale this place, and I want to take over DFW, because what I did is I turned a one doctor office with a fantastic team into one of the best single offices in one of the biggest metroplexes in the country. And that in and of itself is, it's great. Don't get me wrong. But the same thing that got me here won't get me there. So I can't build another office the same way I built this one, because I built this one for one guy. So what I'm actually in the process of doing right now, aside from, like I said, the 2-page guide that turned into a 160-page book, is actually taking the systems and procedures that I have here for a one doctor office and extrapolating them into something bigger so I can scale this around the Metroplex. Because one of the things I think the profession of chiropractic is lacking is helping people get out of it. Because there are plenty of coaches, and I think this is probably true for a lot of professions. There are plenty of coaches and companies that will help you start a business. And hell, there's even more that'll help you build a business. But man, there's not a whole lot that'll help you get out. I don't know of anyone that helps you build a legacy and pass that legacy on to somebody else so they can start and you can exit gracefully.
Man. So what would be an exit strategy then that people don't even think about in the beginning, and then throughout the career, then all of a sudden they at like the midway or 3/4 of the way to retirement? What is it that they missed at the beginning?
I can only speak for chiropractic and maybe for a little bit of a healthcare in general, but it seems like a lot of people just think if they're a chiropractor, they're going to push on backs till one day they don't. I got a dentist next door. He's going to clean teeth till one day he doesn't. And he's actually talked to me like, hey, what's your retirement plan? On paper, what I would love to see this thing become is I'm going to bring in an associate and I'll build him or her up to a place where then I can use the capital that they generate to help them open their own office. And then basically I'll just take that licensing rights or something like that. And I will take that new doctor and one of my assistants and put them in the new office. And then I'll replace them. And because I'm lucky enough to have a chiropractic school right down the road. So they're spitting out new docs all the time. And I can literally train people up and then use the revenue that they generate to build them their own office, put them in it. I can take a wonderfully well-trained chiropractic assistant and have them start there too. Because that was one thing when I started, it was me. I didn't have an assistant to help me out. So if I can give them the doctor and the office manager to hit the ground running and a business plan set in stone that clearly works in this area, one of the fastest growing areas in the country, that's fantastic. And then on top of that, what I can do is teach them after a few years how to do for themselves exactly what I did for them. So then they can step back. Somebody can take their place. Because when I started, like I said, I didn't have an assistant. I bought my practice from somebody else, and he priced it way below what it should have been, because all he wanted was enough money to get out of credit card debt. And man, that's not how I want to go into retirement at zero, right? Like it didn't seem like he had a plan on the way out. And in the time that I've been in practice, I don't see a whole lot of people offering an exit strategy.
That's well said. That's a grand idea. And man, I think you're going to be very successful with it, because I can see it myself, see what you're saying. And because it's like me and my background, I can see how we make, we get into this field as, now my background is in construction.
Okay.
And now we get into the field and we all work for right now. Right? For right now, what we need to solve, what problems we need to solve at home, make this money, go to work, do it again, until we get to that midpoint in life and be like, hold it. I can't keep doing that. I need to think about retirement. Yes. And so I can see your point. Good luck on it. How can the viewers and listeners get a hold of you to find out more about Dr. James Taylor?
Dude, I am all over all the socials, either at Aspire Chiro DFW, ASPIRECHIRO DFW. That's the chiropractic side of things, obviously. Or if you want to check out the podcast stuff, the self-development, personal development stuff, it's at Spiteful Success. Podcast is fueled by spite.
Excellent. Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here by the good doctor, Dr. James Taylor. Get a hold of me.